Alright, hello. Welcome to another video. Like always, we're going to be going through a LeetCode question, and this video is targeted more towards beginners. I hope I can group them, and if you kind of have more coding experience and you are interested in harder problems, I think that's going to come later. Right now, focusing on the beginning, stages of learning how to code, the fundamentals, and really expressing it to a beginner. So with that being said, I'm going to open up LeetCode here. Let's add that in. There we go. Okay, so if you could load up LeetCode.com, and if you don't have an account, go ahead and make one quickly. You don't need to do the premium. You could do just the regular version and follow along with me. So I'm going to go to string because I'm making my way from the easiest questions to the hardest ones, and I think that string is one of the easiest data structures to learn if you know English, because a string is just a word. You can think of it like a word in a quote in between two quotation marks. So I'm going to go ahead and sort this by difficulty. The questions with the locks means that you need a premium account to access them. So I've been skipping over those, and I just did this maximum nesting, but I think the recording messed up. So I had to restart my laptop, and now we're at problem 1662. Check if two strings are equivalent. As always, I'm going to be playing this game where I try to finish the question in 10 minutes with the explanation to you. So that's what we're going to do. It's 8:26 or 25. It's about to be 26, and then I'll start the question. Okay, 10 seconds head start. I'm going to go ahead and click. So it's 8:26. I'm going to try to get this in 10 minutes. Here we go. So check if two string arrays are equivalent. So, okay, I like that. Given two string arrays, word 1 and word 2, return true if the two arrays represent the same string, and false otherwise. A string is represented by an array if the array elements concatenated in order forms the string. So word 1. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you get a question is immediately try to come up with an example and check that with whoever's asking you, the interview question. So, or whoever's asking you this question in general, So you want to get an example down so you can start to visualize the problem in your mind, and as you work through the ambiguity, you will start to see solutions and start to ask questions that will lead you closer to a solution. So with that being said, let's look at this first. Input, and okay, so word 1 equals A, B, and C, and word 2 is A and B, C. Okay, the output is true. Word 1 represents string. Yeah, I think this is pretty self-explanatory. This is pretty self-explanatory. Word 2 represents string A plus BC, ABC. The strings are the same, so return true. Okay, example 2, word equals ABC, ABC. This is false because this is ACB and this is ABC. Okay, example 3, we have ABC plus a D, DEFG. Word 2, this is true. Okay, so now we see some examples. I think this question is pretty simple. Like, you can kind of see the logic, right? So the next step that, when you have an idea of what the solution generalizes to, is writing out, the series of steps that perform this transformation, right? Like, performs this check. So the first thing you want to do in an interview is ask about your input. Like, is our input always going to be valid? Should we assume that we're going to get millions of input, and usually they'll the interviewer starts to constrain the problem for you. So, like, as you see here, word 1 length, word 2 length. So it's always going to be less than 10 cubed, which is 1,000. So we're always going to get less than 1,000. This is kind of, like some of Okay, so consists of lowercase characters. 1. Okay, so there'll always be at least 1. So let me think of so like the brute force way to do this, right, is go through each word 1 array and keep adding the characters on until you have a full string, and then you just compare the strings character by character. That could be one way. So that's one option, but it doesn't feel very like like, I don't know, just it doesn't feel like the optimal way to do it. So I'm gonna try to think of another way. It's been 4.5 minutes. So I could like go through, keep an iterator through. So basically, I could traverse word 1 and word 2 arrays at the same time, and just, yeah, it seems kind of messy. So I'm just gonna go with the most brute force solution, just so I think that's the most clear solution too. So since this is a beginner video and this question is labeled easy, I'll go through like, yeah, what I think is a good solution. If you can come up with this, then like, you're making progress in the right direction. So I'm gonna go ahead and just explain what I mean by build the string. And you heard me say this in a lot of videos, but the reason why you want to work through examples and like write them out, I don't have like a whiteboard, or I would do that there, but writing the example, even through in the terminal, is a good way to start to visualize your algorithm. And that's just the concept I want to hit on, is the skill of visualizing your algorithm and speaking about it out loud is kind of the skill that we're trying to build here. So I think this is a really important part to focus on. So if we have these two, let's say we have this array, right? To build this, we go through each item in the array, and we just take whatever that is and append it to this result that we've been building, right? So our result is going to start off with an empty string, and as we go through this, we're going to look at A, and we're going to say, okay, empty result. There's actually, yeah. So there's a really easy like Python magic that we can use here, and it really looks like this. So like word 1 equals result dot join. Actually, it's this. It's empty string dot join result, or word 1, and so I just want to double check this works. So I'm just gonna print this out and see, just as a sanity check. Like, I want to make sure this works. But I think it's just like really cool that Python does this. So I'm gonna run code. So this is not gonna work, but it'll st out. Okay, so that did work, right? We have ABC printed here, so that does work. So wow. So okay, so now I can just literally iterate through them, and so let's say index of word 1 equals 0, index of word 2 equals 0, and actually we can already start, like, if like the length of the word 1 is not equal to the length of the word 2, right, we can just already return false. We can already return false, right? That's just check number 1. They have to be equal in length. And then now we go through for index in the range of length. We can just use word 1. If word 1, so word 1, and then we can, so yes, if it's not equal to word 2 of index, then again we return false. Otherwise, we've gotten through it and we found nothing that didn't equal, so we can return true. So yeah, so let's look at this example here, right? Word 1 is this, and this is word 2. So I tell you that we have this Python helper, which is just the form. You tell it what you want it to join it on, so we're joining an array, and you tell it that when you join each item, put this between them, and we say to put nothing, right? So what this join is going to do for each of these is produce A, C, B, and here we're going to return A, B, C, right? So then we get into this for loop, and we say for index in the range of the length of word 1. Basically what this is going to do, Python is some more Python magic. We'll make index go from 0 to the length of word 1, which is 3, right? Like it'll go 0 to 3, and it'll actually stop before 3, so it'll just do 0 to 2. Each time this loop iterates, it'll increment index for you, right? So then we say, okay, in word 1, at the position of index, it's not equal to word 2's index, we return false. So we get to like the A, we check their index 0, they're equal. Check their index 2, say B, C and B are not equal, so we return false. Otherwise, if this was like, ABC, ABC, then we go through this loop and we never return false, so then we return true. So I'm gonna go ahead and run code here. It's 8:34. I believe I started at 8:26. But I'm gonna run the code here. This is gonna run it on just this first example. Name true is not defined. Maybe it's because true is definitely defined. Is it true? Oh, do I gotta do, okay. So I have to make these capital for the Python interpreter to recognize it as a Boolean. So accepted. So that was on the first example. Now I'm going to run submit. It's going to check all their test cases. And success. So runtime 20 milliseconds, faster than 87% of Python 3 online submissions. Memory usage 14.3 megabytes, less than 63. So cool. So that was like, and oftentimes when you write algorithms, the simplest one is going to be like the one you should choose because it's going to be the easiest to maintain. It's going to be the easiest for you to come back and understand what's going on. It's going to be easier for someone else that, if they're reading your code, they want to be able to understand it quickly. So if it's a simple program, it'll be easier for them to interpret it and to read. So, I would be happy in an interview if I saw a candidate write, an algorithm like this. It's very quick to the point. I would like them to mention that, there was a trade-off that they made with the simplicity. So like, since we know that the size of the word is never going to be that big, we create another string. When if size is going to be a huge concern, then we want to operate on the word 1 list directly. Like we want to operate in those arrays directly instead of creating new space on the heap for a whole entire string that could be 1,000 characters. If this was 1,000,000 characters, then we don't want to do this. We want to just operate on the array directly. But because in the question they told us that we're never going to have over 1,000, then I think it's fine to have a simpler method like this. Okay, great. So I think we'll end this video here. Feel free to leave any comments or questions, or reach out to me on Instagram, or directly on YouTube. Thanks again for joining, and I hope to see you in the next video.